This week, brothers Andrew and Tristan Tate were released from preventive arrest, from house arrest, and are under judicial supervision. We will not talk about why this happened or about what evidence the prosecutors have, because we have no idea when the trial will end, and we will see when the whole case is sent to court what evidence they have. They sent it, but yes, but a very strange part.
Nu l-au trimis în instanță, dar încă în camera preliminară. Problema mea este că
they send the case file to court, but it's in the pretrial chamber. My problem is that they sent them to court, like I mentioned on Friday, for human trafficking, an extraordinarily serious crime. Yes, and rape, another extraordinarily serious crime. Or if you trial someone, you prosecute them for rape and human trafficking, normally you put them in jail if you have some kind of evidence. You hit the nail on the head with this, because otherwise it doesn't make sense to get the trafficker and the rapist out of jail and judge them free. You are right, some things don't end up. I have information from a citizen who participated in this investigation. Go ahead, please. The case file is rack and ruin. You mean the war in Ukraine? No. If it is rack and ruin, you're talking about the war. No, I'm talking about the Tate brothers file. Oh, really? Okay. An injured party who doesn't want to declare himself a claimant, who is not even in Romania anymore. The file is absolute zero. Zilch. I asked this good buddy of mine, why was it done? They received orders from outside the country to be arrested. So the ones who gave the order from outside the country should come with the evidence too. Do you have any evidence that this was ordered from outside to be arrested? I told you the story that he told me. Did you ask if they had any evidence? I'm calling him now to ask. Please call him or send him a message on WhatsApp. I will make some evidence or I will ask the people. I and Mircea here and Mugur Ciuvică, we have analyzed the way this case was publicized on social networks. What did the guys first of all do as soon as they got out? They got another car. We'll see those pictures of the new car. You know, they seized some of these cars. They bought another one. This is the new car they unloaded from that truck. Me, because I know less about cars like that, I know more about guns than cars, shooting guns. Let there be no misunderstanding, Mircea. What kind of a little car is this thing? I don't know, my son would be capable to tell us. I don't know. The car looks competent at first glance. But they have a lot of money, and this whole case of the Tate brothers, about which at one point, well, some people full of optimism and confidence in the so-called authorities said that, oh my God, there might be some stuff on file so important that we don't know it, but to expect that some stuff will appear, nothing has appeared, nothing has appeared. So the media in Romania, I no longer refer to the international media, I will no longer call it the press, because in my opinion, there is no press anymore. The media in Romania is, to a certain extent, in my opinion, substantially propagandist of the authorities, whatever that means. That is to say, it is the PR of the militiamen, the prosecutors, and in general the establishment, whatever form it takes. So most people have no idea who these two people are, nor have they bothered to find out or to inquire. They have taken the official narrative chorus, and is also the case with the war in Ukraine, to take the official narrative and trumpet it in the wake given by the authorities without the slightest trace of investigative effort. Not to mention questioning what would be, from the point of view of the press, which no longer exists, something absolutely legitimate. And then a very relaxed approach was propagated in Romania, and the subject still exists. I don't know how much more interest it presents. I'm waiting too, really, but not with great interest, because I am absolutely convinced that it is exactly what I've learned so far, nothing extra. Speaking of seeing exactly what's on this case file, I have no doubt that is exactly what we've been talking about so far, and nothing more. Nothing like wait and see, they didn't tell us that something important exists in the case file. I'm convinced that this certainly doesn't exist. Well, when the things would be so certain, why wouldn't you send them to court by now? Why would you delay this long? To be honest, I don't feel like they were kept long in the investigation phase. 6-7 months. The investigation began in December. Okay, never mind that they started with last spring with Bufta and so on, but this particular case, well, let's just say that it began in December. They finalized it as they sent to the Honorable Court the case file. The problem is, attention, the case file is at the pre-trial chamber. It hasn't arrived in the court yet. That is very interesting. In Romania, because of the huge propaganda machine of the establishment, they think that these two made a lot of money with 2-3 ladies in a house in Pipera. Completely false. A huge foolishness, but among the many stupidities that are spread in Romania because they serve the so-called authorities, this is one of them. I mean, serious is, if I may, to add to what Mircea Badea said, if only the authorities could get some people in the press, right? No, they prefer the convenience of the journalists. They don't check anything, they don't make any phone calls, they don't have any friends anywhere. I caught the moment now to whine about it. We work with this type of people. These are the type of people that the universities are providing. They understood that the purpose of the media, that there is no longer the press, is to be a propagandist for the authorities. Of course, it's hand in hand with that convenience, and of course it exists, but I'm absolutely convinced that's how they understood it. I mean, if the militiaman said something, then he's the lawman. This is how they are portrayed on the news, the man of law, lawman. But when I was told by a journalist, Virgil Burlă, who I asked, why did you become a journalist? He gave me an astonishing answer, because I hated Ion Iliescu. This was the motive of his professional life. And secondly, I said to him, hey, don't you doubt it when one of these obviously sick press releases from the National Anti-Corruption Directorate comes, you don't give it a second thought. Who am I to doubt what the prosecutor says? Pretty cool, we need this type of journalists. Don't wonder anymore. We don't need them anymore. It's full of them. I mean, we need them, and now it's done. Let's see another picture. These guys are media experts, to be clear. This is where a lot of money comes from. So much money. We are going to see pictures of Andrew Tate in the pool. Look how professionally the image is made. You get the feeling that we're at the Olympics and the professional photographer has been stalking the moment, angles and all. Have a look, it's professionally done, it's in detail, so you can understand how these people get media coverage. And because we're talking about what happened on social media, where they stand, not well, they stand exceptionally well. What happened to social media audiences? Let's see Tristan Tate, who, from the two brothers, is not as active on social media accounts. From the two, he's more discreet. More discreet, yes, a little.
3,5 milioane au vizionat postarea lui.
When they announced that they had been released from house arrest and were under judicial supervision, 3.5 million viewed his post. We then went live an hour or so away since the post, when they had 1 million and a bit. In the meantime, they made 3.5 million. If you track how many likes there are, 104,000 reactions are with hearts. Check what's on there. Okay, so this is for Tristan Tate. Pay attention, these people are not from Romania, to be clear. They are from all over the world. They are from all over the world because they have many followers. But we may very well see what happened after with Candace Owens, who is a political commentator in the conservative area in the United States.
Adunat în 16 ore de la momentul în care s-a ocupat de
She did not interview them. Pay attention, the video with the abused ladies gathered in 16 hours from the moment she handled the facts. Candace Owens took everything one by one. What did the prosecutors write? Who are the abused parties? Those who do not consider themselves abused? She made 704,000 views on YouTube. I repeat, this was not a face-to-face interview with any of the brothers. It was with documents.
Era cu documente, ea vorbea
Așa cum a
despre.
făcut Tucker Carlson.
Ajungem și acolo.
Like
Să
Tucker
știți cât a
Carlson
făcut
did.
Tucker Carlson în
We are
interviul
getting
de
there. Do you
acasă
want to
cu
know how
Enrique?
many views did Tucker Carlson
Era un
made
arest
from
la
the interview
domiciliu
with
pe
Andrew
vremea.
Tate at
Haideți să
home?
vedem
At the
poza
time, they
din
were under
timpul
house
interviului.
arrest.
Interviul
Let's
a
take a
durat
look
foarte
at the
mult.
photo
Tucker
from the
Carlson a venit în
interview.
România de nu
The
știau
interview
despre
was
ce caută
really
pe
long.
România.
Tucker Carlson came to Romania and nobody knew what he was doing here. He wasn't looking for anyone from Romania because, in fact, he was looking for Andrew Tate, who was under house arrest, and Tucker Carlson could only interview him if he went to his home. Let's have a look.
67,
96,4 milioane vizualizări.
96.4 million views. 96 million views. 96 million views.
Nu e rău pentru niște băieți care nu.
That is not bad for some guys that made with two girls in Pipera.
Media mondială face cifre uriașe cu ei pentru că nu.
Of course, the whole world media makes huge figures out of them because they are two John Does from Pipera. Exactly. Girls who don't know where more to declare that no one is being held there by force. Yeah, well, when celebrities come here to interview them and you make 96 million views, they don't come from Romania with these million views. Obviously not. We need to explain as you never know. I don't know how much audience we make with this subject here in Romania. Don't show this image much longer because I absolutely accidentally saw, I'm not following her, but Mrs. Budeanu berated them for not having socks. Here it is right. Yes, when it's right, it's right. That's life. Tucker Carlson had no socks as well out of respect for Andrew Tate. She berated both of them for having a blazer on and no socks. She said it was a quite serious offense. In Italy, I haven't seen that this is a fault and it's not very much punished, but with Mrs. Budeanu, if it's serious, it's serious.
Rămânem cu un uriaș număr de vizualizări pe platformele sociale pe care le au acești doi indivizi.
Yes, in the end we end up with what we agreed upon, meaning we are left with a huge number of views on the social media platforms these two individuals have. We are talking about astronomical figures that they made in the interviews they gave during this period when they were under house arrest. And we are talking as much about the astronomical figures made when they announced that they were released from house arrest and are only under judicial control.
Sigur, fiecare are opinia lui. Întrebarea e dacă ei sunt mai deranjanți decât infracțiunile, chipurile care...
They are considered extremists in their language and I'm analyzing what they say. Of course, everyone has their own opinion. The question is whether they are more disturbing than the alleged crimes they are accused of. We'll see what the court says because they can be vectors for propagating ideas that spoil political games. I can wonder when 30 million people can watch you anytime. You can be an influencer in other areas as well. At some point, you can slip in some ideas, some things, and isn't that disturbing? I mean, if you add up all the politicians, I don't know, from whatever country you want, they make together a tenth of a fifth of their views. I'm just asking.
Ei cumva au idei similare, hai ca să spunem așa, cu al lui Donald Trump, fără să fie neapărat implicați în vreo campanie electorală.
If you're talking about Donald Trump, yes, but Donald Trump seems to be in trouble too. On the same wake, somehow they have similar ideas, so to speak, to Donald Trump's, without necessarily being involved in any elections campaign or political party, as anti-progressive and anti-woke speech, a strongly anti-woke speech. Many of the things Trump says in that area we find Andrew Tate's speech as well. Of course, but they are the only ones who have this audience. I mean, they are not the only ones who deliver this type of speech. The platforms are full of people who have the same message but don't have this audience.
Și atunci au audiență uriașă, de-aia au și vândut foarte mult, au vândut.
They are more charismatic and then they have huge audiences. That's why they sold so much. They literally sold. Like Mr. Ciuvica said about Dana Budeanu. I agree with Dana Budeanu about the socks, but not to almost everything else she says. But how does Miss Dana Budeanu have an app and you subscribe to get live from Dana Budeanu? They have the same thing, but on a different scale in terms of numbers and finance. So you subscribe to get enlightenment from Andrew Tate and you pay him, and that's where they got the money from. That with the video chat in Pipera, I don't dispute this, but many understood that the money is from that. People are laughing.